All right. So you won't hear our other lovely guest in this next segment because they did have to go somewhere, and that's completely okay. We didn't expect it to run this long anyway. If you guys
Yeah,
watched the
this was
first
supposed to be
part,
like what, hour and a half long
yeah,
thing.
but if you
Turned
guys watch the
double
first
that.
part, you can see it's almost 3 hours. It's like 2 hours and a
Yeah.
half, right? So we're me and Eagle Nine. We started out doing these things anyway together, so why not end off another year of content together? Um,
Indeed.
so the last couple of things we want to touch on is what do you think now that you've seen all of the year either passively or actually playing through it, what do you think Bungie should continue to do? Because we've talked in mass about things that didn't work and clearly what Bungie should stop doing. But what do you think that is currently in the game right now that should really continue into Witch Queen and beyond?
Well, the main thing that Bungie has had a problem with in terms of its narrative is the fact that a lot of its stuff is hidden behind the lore cards, where
True.
you have to go and find like a specific weapon, or you have to go and find this one place and activate this random thing. And you have to go and search for it yourself to find these really hidden elements. That's what they did in the past, but lately, as of the last, like, Beyond Light and stuff, they've begun to put more of the story in the cutscenes, in the campaign stuff, in things that are actually voiced. They've been putting a lot of emphasis on that recently, and that's actually connecting and resonating with a lot of the casual players who don't go and read the lore, who don't go and watch like Vibes videos about stuff.
Yep.
Um, they are now getting that lore right in front of them, where it's just happening. It's like, oh yes, this is such and such, and they're from these places. Okay, cool. Wow, what is that? Okay, they
Right.
are doing this, and it just goes on a deep dive with it in character. So I believe doing that for a narrative standpoint is a really good thing because it hooks a lot of people, and honestly, I think that's where a lot of the drive to come over and play Destiny comes from at this point.
Exactly.
Because let's face it, the actual gameplay is becoming very commonplace that we have this, like, space fantasy. There's several other games that I can think of that
Very
have
true.
that kind of space fantasy vibe to them.
Yep.
So what drives this out of all the other ones is the fact that they've been doing this for like 7 years, and they have all this like rich history for like even the most simple of things. Example, like some of the planetary resources that we have, like
Yep.
spin metal. That was like that has its own story behind it. It's like, what is this? Like,
Really
well, it's
does.
actually based on this like golden age technology, and yada 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 yada. So yes, it's this sprawling, like, diverse universe where it's all beginning to interconnect. And yeah, the bottom line, just put that in front of the everyday player. Some of the things that they need to improve, though, is making sure that they're paying attention to the new lights,
Yes.
because
Oh my
they
gosh.
have had a long history of being ignored.
Yeah, like apparently they're gonna improve on the new light experience in season 16 and Witch Queen as well,
Yes.
but and hopefully it actually goes well this time
Yeah.
because their attempts at improving the new light experience throughout the year of Beyond Light was very unfortunate because the whole thing with for those that don't know, Dares of Eternity when it came out, it didn't matter what light level you were just thrusted into the 6-man activity. And there was a
Yeah,
whole
you're
thing going around
forced.
on Twitter. Yeah, it was a whole thing going around on Twitter where like it was a whole save the new lights campaign, where like you lower your light level and then join in with a bunch of new lights and then put all your strong stuff on and carry them through. Like
Yeah,
there
I
was a whole
believe
thing.
no one caught it until one random dude went to Reddit and started talking about it, and then Polygon picked up on that and then started blasting everything on the media.
Yep.
So Bungie had no idea that was going on, and a lot of the players didn't even know what was going on either.
Yep.
So
true.
yeah, like new players were just being absolutely discouraged from the game because they were forced into this activity they had no hope of ever completing.
Because there was champions and everything in Dares of Eternity.
Yeah, they literally could not finish it. It was just too difficult for them.
And sure, you can get by without the champion mods, but we have weapons that can kill these things fast enough before they activate their champion mod stuff. The new lights, they don't have any of that. They have a Kvostov.
Yep.
Kvostov, a green shotgun, and a green rocket. Or something.
I don't even think they actually got that. I don't think they picked up the rocket launcher until like they did a couple of missions in the Cosmodrome.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
they didn't even have like a power weapon. So yeah, paying attention to the new players is what I would suggest.
I agree. Because it's great that you're showing some love to the veterans, but if you want new people, like make them feel welcome. Like, sure, it's great that, you know, they're boosting everybody to 1350 or 1360 or whatever, so we can all do the Witch Queen campaign at the same level, which is amazing. I love that. That was the best improvement they ever made, that they're going to make. But for those that have never played Destiny and are picking it up for the first time with Witch Queen, because they heard their friends or they heard about the advertisements that it's so good, you gotta brief them on what's going on.
Yeah,
like, you gotta have something.
They're still asking questions like, there's elements? They're just doing that level. Like, oh, I didn't even know there were elements in this game.
Who's
I thought it
Aldrin
was just
Sov?
all gun damage. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's like a super basic question. They're like looking at their gun like, huh, why is one gun that I have like only doing regular like muzzle flash and this other one's doing like, you know, blue?
why is this gun icon facing the other way?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you shouldn't have to go to other people to figure that out. The game should just be like, yeah, so this is what it is. You know, this is how the guns work. This is what they are. These are the elements.
Here's how you access your inventory.
Yeah. And here's the story this far.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's a really good one. The story thus far. Like, when we last left our heroes, this is what was happening.
Like, you don't even have to start from Destiny 1. You can start with the Red War.
Yeah, like, that was further enough back that, that's now considered, like, ancient history.
Exactly.
So, yeah, just keeping them up to date with, like, what's going on and, like, you know, catching them up, essentially. Sure. So, yeah, but still having that feeling of, wow, what is this place? Just, like, a sense of wonder that you kind of should have at the beginning.
Yeah, you don't want to explain everything to them, but you want to make sure they're not completely lost. Like, you want to make sure that they know where they're at and what they're doing. What kind of game they're playing, you know?
So, yeah, that's kind of my whole thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we've already touched on, you know, how the game was as a whole. Actually, no. Now we can go deeper into the system aspect. Since you were free to play for like a majority of the year, how was the game as a whole for the year of Beyond Light?
Well, not really big into PvE.
Fair.
Never really had held an appeal to me.
Uh-huh.
I think I told you about this, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
For me, since I was pretty much only doing PvP, and I didn't do it every single time I turned on to my computer, it was interesting to watch how the meta evolved from Beyond Light until here.
It's crazy.
Because it was, like you were mentioning, a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people who abused stasis at the beginning. A lot.
Yep.
And it wasn't to say that it was unavoidable, some of it. Yeah, you can totally, like, you know, if you see a Shatter Dive coming in, like, okay, I'm not gonna go near those crystals. But sometimes there's no avoiding it. It was just too much, there was too much ice everywhere. Well,
It
technically it's
almost
not
didn't
ice,
have a
but whatever.
counter.
Yeah, there was no counter to that for a long while. Then people started adapting, but then people adapted to the adaptation. So it was just this ongoing, just like, I don't know. It was bad.
Yeah,
There's
it
no two
was.
ways about it. It was bad at the beginning. It was hell.
Sure.
So yeah, for a while there, I was just like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this right now. So I actually just like dropped Destiny for a little bit, played some other games. We were playing a game for a good long while there. And we kind of like left the whole PvP aspect of Destiny, and for me, that was all I could do. So I didn't pick up Destiny for several months at a time. But I always kept an ear to the ground and made sure that I was in the loop with various things, like what builds were like most optimal, what were people doing, how was Trials faring, because that was a really good indicator, like the health
True.
of stuff. And yeah, just a lot of just like, okay, I hear a lot of complaining right now. This is going about as well as I expected. Good thing I dodged this bullet. But then Season of the Splicer rolled around, and that was when things really started to get interesting in terms of improvement. Because yeah, the cheating situation was heavily dealt with.
Oh man.
That was along the lines of RuneScape's bot nuking day, and it was glorious.
It was so good. I'm so glad.
Oh.
When they announced that, I was like, Neil, we get to play PvP again.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just like, maybe I have actually a chance to go into and then immediately my next thought was, that's Trials. What are you talking about? You've never done that before for a very specific reason. Good point, brain. Anyways, moving on to Iron Banner.
Exactly. And then another great thing that they did was like making Trials behind a paywall. That was the best thing they could have done.
Yeah, that's been talked about for a very long time. Because I remember there was a time when people were talking about just asking Bungie to straight up remove PvP from the game because it was that bad.
Yeah,
that was how big the problem was. They didn't care enough that Bungie was saying, we're listening, or like, you know, we're doing these things. Like, no, it's been too big of a problem. It was, we're gone. We're leaving. We don't want this anymore.
People did leave, and they might still not come back.
Yeah, I mean, it was so much of a problem that people had, again, with that whole mouthfeel that Mercy was talking about. Yeah, like, sometimes it just leaves too bad of a feel in your mouth, and you're just like, nah, done.
Exactly. It's like,
over.
It can't be
no
redeemed.
Chance of redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even if Witch Queen ends up being that expansion that Taken King was for Destiny 1, some people may not still even come back because Bungie burned them that bad, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, a perfect example for me was I played Borderlands 2 so much with one friend of mine that it burned me out of the series forever. I cannot play it again. I tried to go back and play Borderlands 3. I couldn't. Because I was too badly burned out. It completely fizzled my interest for that particular type of game. So yeah, I couldn't go back, and it could be that way for a lot of people who used to play Destiny.
I don't blame them, because Beyond Light, it was
heavy-handed.
It was a crazy year.
Too hot.
Yeah, way too hot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Bungie realized it now. But like for a lot of people, it's way too little, way too late.
Yeah, well, for me, when I actually started poking my head back into the Crucible and like playing around with some stuff, I was relying on my own meta, like I mentioned earlier. I developed my own system that was unique. I've developed my own particular playstyle. I don't adapt to whatever anyone else is doing. I just get better at what I do. I get more creative, more innovative with how I play. I have the style of me, and it's unique. I use Cerberus, I use Foe Tracer, and I use Age-Old Bond. That's what I do. Everything else about my equipment can change, because I always use a type of sword, but it always changes depending on what I want to do with it.
True.
Sometimes it's Quick Fang, sometimes it was Golden Tusk, other times it was Zephyr. I use different swords, but it's always a sword of some kind. And
Very
then with
true.
my armor, it depends on which one I needed most. Did I need more resilience to survive something? Did I need more recovery so I can get back into a fight? Or did I need to just be a speedy boy and run around everywhere? And I never really spec'd into abilities because I was mostly focusing on my gunplay.
Right.
It kind of like was my own particular style, and it was fascinating to see how many times I can actually keep people on their toes who are using the best meta that was currently of that particular season or week, even because sometimes they would change so fast, like it was a weekly thing.
True.
So yeah, I've outgunned people with Last Word, Dead Man's Tale, a whole bunch of like those hard hitting Tex Mechanica weapons. And I'm fairly certain people called me out on being a cheater, but I'm not. I'm just using a meta that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I actually find that pretty funny that you were called a cheater at one point.
Yeah, no, there was a lot. I can't point any fingers in particular, but there was like sometimes when between matches, it was like it's still the same exact roster, but something's going on with the system that is like making it like check something, and
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that it was people on the other team accusing me of being a cheater and like pushing that button because
Probably.
I was at the top of the leaderboard and I was using a Cerberus with
Right.
like what
Yeah.
6,000 kills on it at this point.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was off meta, and I was always fighting an uphill battle. And the good players use that against me.
True.
But everyone else was pissed off. But I'm just like, what are you complaining about? You have all these crazy abilities that are very easy to use. What I'm doing is not easy. It's hard.
Exactly. And they hated you for it because you were
So
different.
yeah, exactly. They hate the different. And
Yeah,
it's a
it's true.
human condition at that point.
Honestly, like a lot of people, for a lot of PvPers, if you're not using a hand cannon and a shotgun together, you're pretty much wrong.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. No, I've literally seen clan names that like you have to have these things and be of this many hours of play, and that is a requirement. Otherwise, we're not going to even talk to you.
wow.
Oh, and make sure that you're not on console.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen those things. I'm just like, okay, these are the kind of people that are sticking around right now. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fascinating to watch the kinds of players I was running up against during this free-to-play season of mine,
Right.
since it lasted, well, since Beyond Light.
True.
So that was, when did Beyond Light come out? That was 2 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah, so I've been running around this free-to-play mode for 2 years, and it's been enlightening. Yeah, what else do you got for me?
Right. Because it's mainly
Yeah,
gonna
what
be on
else
you.
you got?
But it's like because it was, I guess for like on the system one, like on the game as a whole. I guess the next part would be like, what are you looking forward to? Because then now we can start getting into like marketing material that was shown,
Okay.
right? Because we didn't want to reveal spoilers to Mercy because she hasn't been watching a whole bunch of trailers and a lot of marketing material that Bungie's been putting out, other than like
Yes,
the
and
trailers that
as
she said
mentioned,
she's
she
seen.
does not want to be spoiled for anything as
Exactly.
much as possible, of course.
Right. So now we can talk a bit in depth about certain things. So starting that with, what are you looking forward to, like game wise? Because we already know what we're all looking forward to story wise.
Well, okay. Story-wise, that's a whole beast.
True.
However, gameplay, weapon crafting.
Yes.
That is
Oh
the
my
big one.
god.
So I'm
Please.
just gonna start that right off. Weapon crafting being implemented in any massive multiplayer game, it's kind of huge.
Yes, I agree.
It's a tad bit risky, but it's also very much worth the risk because it allows agency for the players. It allows more customization and makes them more special because it's molding to your own desires. It's fulfilling that fantasy about being in control of this particular character, even more so now with down to like the minutest detail. like how Mercy was saying, like, I need my character to look amazing.
True.
This is another way that they can be kind of like that perfect shape.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, even the things that aren't even aesthetically pleasing, you now have things that are functionally pleasing.
Exactly.
So yeah, it is.
And I know that hits for
fills the
you.
itch. Yes, functionality has always been a big thing for me. I don't really care too much how I look, as long as it works, I'm happy.
Yep.
Point in case, that's why I've always worn like kind of the disgusting looking colorations, because it has its function in people's psyche. I'm the big red flag that's in front of the bull.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, the whole weapon crafting thing is the major selling point of the mechanics. Regardless of what's going on
Sure.
with the story and the whole narrative of the new enemy types and whatnot,
Uh-huh.
what we are capable of doing now is far more refined than what we have done.
Yep. And not only the
Destiny-
weapon crafting, but the void changes as well.
Yeah, we'll get in that in a second. That's
For
another
sure, for sure.
But yeah, for the weapon crafting, I recall that in vanilla Destiny 2, back when it first got released,
Uh-huh.
they took a chance and did random rolls for like a hot second. And then they took that away because they realized it made us too powerful.
True.
Then they put it back in. And
Yeah.
now we've been just going nuts trying to get our perfect god rolls.
True.
But with this will probably not change the hunt too much, but it will change how we go about doing the hunt.
Yep. Exactly. And that's the part that's most exciting. There's a mix-up now. We can't do
Yeah.
the same stuff anymore.
Yeah.
We gotta hunt for these
It
materials,
keeps things fresh.
stuff like that. Yeah. And then apparently, if you looked close enough, and when they were like going over the perks, and when they showed some of the perks, there's enhanced perks.
I noticed that, yes.
Like, imagine enhanced kill clip, rampage. Imagine enhanced killing wind. Like,
There's a lot that can happen in that. And also, we still have adept mods and stuff.
oh man.
So, like,
And then origin perks.
not even adept mods. What's they called? Spec.
Yeah.
Like Rampage spec on top of enhanced Rampage.
Oh man.
Or Dragonfly spec on top of enhanced Dragonfly.
Yep.
I don't know what that would do. Just explode the world, I guess.
Right? It would make it Firefly, I guess. Finally.
Yeah. And then, well, there's also guns that have Firefly itself.
True.
So that on top of it, just blow
For
up the world.
real.
Shoot one time, the world explodes. Game
Man.
crashes. The end.
Honestly, though.
I blew up the server.
Yes.
I did real world damage.
It's Celeste all over again.
Anyways, but yeah, that whole like weapon crafting system, I've been a fan of that in any game. That is just
Same.
it does exactly what you want it to because you made it yourself. That is what I enjoy a lot because like, okay, this is exactly what I need. I do that in real life. I go out there, I go and see with the tools I have that are created by the company or provided by the company, whatever. And it's just like, okay, this is garbage. This will break in like a couple of uses if I don't do something to it. So I take it back home, or better yet, buy my own version of it. So they don't have to complain I'm destroying company property. And I go back home, I customize it, I like saw off a couple parts, I buy a whetstone and make it sure that it's nice and sharp in places. And even if I'm not doing anything particular with it, I just make sure it's sharp. Like, that's the bare minimum. I just need my tool sharp. And then I make sure that it's doing exactly what I need. Like, okay, I got this tool, I got that need for that particular type of tool. Great. Mine.
Right.
Now with Destiny, I haven't been able to do that as much. Sure, I can try to get a roll, but some of those rolls are so low chances of dropping that is like, okay, it's like 1 in a million chance of getting this weapon. And then I have to do the next roll on that weapon for this barrel perk or whatever. That's why I've never bothered with like sights or barrel perks. I've always only hunted for those last 2 big ones, like Rampage spec, or Rampage, or like Dragonfly, or one of those things at the end. Never done the first 2 options, but now with the whole weapon crafting system, that's becoming more available. I can actually go and find the god roll for me, not just for everyone. Me.
Exactly. That's what I'm hype about too.
Yeah.
That full customization. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't really care too much about like the meta that people are using. I care about how I want to use it. Half-Den D was a great example of that. No one really liked the Half-Den D when it was like released, because it was like there was other options. It, like shoot faster,
it was too slow,
or yeah, it shot too slow, and it had a very weird firing pattern.
Yep.
So people couldn't like fight normally with it. That's the thing. You're not supposed to fight like everyone else. You're supposed to fight like it. It's more useful at like scout rifle ranges, and if anyone who has a scout rifle tries to challenge it, the fire rate is much faster, and it hits a lot harder than they can. So essentially, you're just outpacing them with it.
Very true.
And then partner that up with another like close range weapon, not a shotgun. If you know, back then shotguns were like a power weapon back then, I believe. So you had to
with like an SMG or a sidearm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, one of those 2. And that's how you would operate. You would have like a super long range option and then the short range op, which I still hold to that tenet today.
Yes,
so having the option of now creating my own version of that in conjunction with all the other new stuff that we're getting is great.
Heck yeah.
That's weapon crafting. Let's talk about Void.
Oh, the big man.
I'll let you go first for this one.
Yes. So with Void 3.0, there's so many stuff that's changing. A lot of, since I have Destiny up, I'll show a lot of the, the little diamonds that we have for individual like subclass attunements. A lot of them are going to be like fragments, and then we'll get a few new things that are aspects, and then some other stuff will be usable on other classes and vice versa. Everybody's gonna get everybody's grenade. Warlocks get all their jumps. I feel like hunters will get all their jumps too. Apparently hunter is not getting blink from Void, at least. Option is still open for Arc. I know, Sag. But like Warlock is gonna be very proficient in Devourer, although other classes probably will be able to use it. The Titan is suppression and overshields and barriers. And Hunter is weaken and like trapping things still. Yeah, invisible, all that. Yeah, it's fam. If you haven't seen any of the Bungie articles, any of the trailers, oh my gosh, Void 3.0 is changing everything.
Where do we begin with this monster? Because this is a large topic.
Yeah, it is. Let me pull up the Bungie article so we can at least get a starting point.
Seriously.
Because, oh my.
Didn't most of the TWAB like involve that?
Well, they released a whole thing called a closer look at Void 3.0.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I'm just gonna pull that up right now. It's on screen.
Gotcha.
So, going over they talked a lot about it, about how there's aspects and fragments and everything, and how everybody's gonna get a majority of the fragments, and I think the aspects, although we may have to unlock some aspects probably, but apparently 4 more will be released after the world first raid is completed, which makes sense. I expected them to do that. That like some things would be tied behind, the world first race completion. But like they said, we've taken elements and abilities from diamonds and promoted them to full size aspects. Warlock's Chaos Accelerant ability is a good example, where they can charge their grenades into more powerful versions, but now it's a full-on aspect, so you can run, for example, Chaos Accelerant and Devour. And then you have this new ability called Child of the Old Gods. That's just a void buddy.
Okay. So, as a Warlock, what are you most excited about using?
Oh, fam. What I'm most excited about using is Child of the Old Gods, bro.
Okay. Why?
Because, think of it as, so for those that have played Warlock, everybody knows the Arc Buddy. You place down your Rift in the Arc subclass tree. I think it's the bottom diamond. And
Arc Soul comes out.
Arc Soul, you give it to everybody. But this one, you summon it, right? And then you attack somebody, and it goes to them, and it kind of sucks them in or weakens them. And then you can mix that in with your melee, and it explodes everything. It's sick. It just feels super good. It's everything. It's really everything. Child of the Old Gods is gonna be sick. If anybody hasn't seen the trailer, I have it up, completely muted, but this is essentially what it looks like. You put down your Rift, and then you attack things. It flies in and tethers things almost, but it weakens them, right? And then you're attacking things as they're weakened, and it's just great. It's just great. And then
for me, I actually never really liked the Void Grenade options for Hunter.
Right.
I never really liked it that much. The best one I got was Vortex Grenade, and that was just you slap it down onto an area, and then it just does damage in an AoE. That's it. Because it was the most similar to other grenade types. I didn't like the directional attack of the Spike Grenade, and the Void Wall I never could figure out. I'm bad at math, so geometry was terrible for me. I couldn't figure out how to put it down.
I feel that.
So, I am most excited about using the suppressor grenades for Titan, because I have been envious of Titan suppressor grenades since it first was released.
Heck yeah.
So yes, that is what I'm actually looking forward to. More than the AoE invis to all my allies, more than the shattering shot, or whatever it's called, of the arrows that come from Tether. More than anything else, I am excited about using grenades.
Yeah, it's gonna be
such
sick.
a basic ability.
Just bounce
it's
it.
just such a basic thing.
Yeah.
I want physics that makes sense to me for my grenade.
Yup. It's gonna be sick.
So yes, yeah, it's gonna change up a lot of things, though.
Very much so.
Not just the fact that it really leading into that, this is heavy, this is void, this is gravity. That whole thing where it's the play style of it. But for me, it's gonna be I can debuff and make people invisible now. Great.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, their version of Shatter Dive is Invis Dive.
Pretty much, yeah. It's I think they're calling it Vanishing Step or something, where they
That was what
yeah. Deadfall.
That was someone else.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a thing where they jump down with it, and then they it's kind of like Shatter Dive, like Neil was saying, but you slam down a vanishing smoke or whatever, and it turns you and your invisibles and your allies invisible. It's sick. So dope.
Yeah, it's kind of like the vanishing smoke perk, but instead of throwing it down, you slam down with it.
Yep.
So yeah, just I'll save you, friend. Boo, invisible.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the combination of things we can do now with our exotics
Oh man,
and with other people's abilities. That's gonna be interesting.
that's gonna be sick. Yeah, cause like the main things they wanted to take a look at was suppress, weaken, volatile, invisibility, overshield, devour, and other things like that. Like, we're all gonna be able to do stuff like that. Like it's crazy. And of course, like Bungie goes over the different aspects for each class. You know, for Titan they have controlled demolition, bastion, and offensive bulwark. For Hunter, they have trapper's ambush, vanishing step, of course, and stylish executioner, which has changed a bit.
Mhm.
You don't have to be crouched anymore.
Yeah, that was the main thing why I didn't like to use it, because
Right.
constantly crouching is like, eh.
Exactly. And then for Warlocks, it's Chaos Accelerant, which everybody knows about. Feed the Void, which is Devour. And then Child of the Old Gods. It's a lot of exciting stuff. Because there are fragments as well. Echo of Expulsion. Void ability kills cause enemies to explode. And then there's Provision. Damaging enemies with grenades grants melee energy. And then Echo of Domineering. After suppressing a target, which everybody can do now, gain a greatly increased mobility for short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. That's really good in
automatic
itself.
reload is nice.
Yes.
Overall, I'm very pleased that they are reverting back to the Destiny 1 typing.
That's the main
doing
thing.
your subclass.
Yes.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, Destiny 1 actually had customizable options for all of our abilities. In fact, we even had a customization of how much resilience, agility, and I don't think it was intellect, but what was it? Recovery. There we go. So yeah, that was actually part of our class stuff.
True.
We could change how much of that we had in addition to all of our gear. That was the main thing we had. And how our grenades worked, how our jump worked, how our abilities worked were 100% customizable. We could do that on the fly instead of the single block that we've had, or diamond, whatever, that we have in Destiny 2. Which, honestly, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, this is a downgrade from what we have.
It was more
That was my
simplified.
first impressions back in Destiny 1 final season. Yeah, I was just like, wow, this is what we're getting next game? Ugh.
Yeah. It was definitely something, but I'm so glad they're going back to like the full customization stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So exciting. So exciting. All right.
But yeah, I would love to see the interaction of that buddy with all the other buddies.
Yeah, because apparently
Because
they
they did
said
mention
that.
that they're going to be moving with each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Arc buddy and the Void buddy. Apparently there's going to be some special interaction.
Or the Time buddy.
That too. Yeah, I want to see if anything happens with that.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. All right. And for the last bit is mainly like, what do you think, what improvements do you want, what do you want to see improvements in? Like, other than the the new light experience.
Well, they're already doing things for Gambit.
True.
So, oh man.
I would say, if anything, improvements to matchmaking as a whole, like lobby balancing.
Well, that's going to be an eternal beast. I don't think they're ever going to slay that one.
Yeah.
Lobby balancing it changes constantly, in my opinion.
Very.
Oh man, I really can't point to any one thing right now. Maybe having a new map for Crucible, that would be nice.
Well, I mean, they did announce that we're getting Eternity and Vostok back, thankfully.
Well, back. That's the thing. I want something new.
True. I also want something new. Apparently, we are getting new Crucible. Like, Crucible is going to be season 17, apparently.
Okay.
At least from what the wording is.
Okay.
because
Like I
this whole
said,
year is
interesting.
gonna be like focused on ritual, like giving back life to the ritual activities. So we'll see what happens with that. But
Yeah, they did make an error with the whole ritual and pinnacle system.
yeah, they
before,
sure
so
did.
let's see how that goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And other than that, it just to close it off, we're really excited for what's to come, at least on paper, because I've always said that Bungie knows how to start years and end years. They ended the year pretty good, and oddly enough, with the season, I always talk about how bad the seasons are in between the beginning and the ending, but they did pretty well for Beyond Light. Like overall, the seasons in the middle, which are usually the weakest, were pretty strong. So hopefully they keep that cadence. But yeah, we're all looking forward to season 16, Season of the Risen, is what it's called, and how we're working with Kaido again. And apparently we have like this arc javelin or something that we're gonna be able to use. Everything looks sick. So if you haven't already, make sure you do the interactive trailer for the Vanguard thing, so you can get a brief on Savathun and who she is. And of course, there's many different videos out there. I will always recommend My Name Is Bife. That's where we watch all of our lore stuff. He's Lore Daddy, you know. That's what he calls us. That's what everybody calls him. So hey, but yeah, like it just. I really hope that Bungie doesn't let the hype die. Like they're really hyping this up huge. The marketing for this is insane. But if they let this one slip,
They're pretty much done.
Yeah, I think that spells the end for Destiny. There will be no Lightfall. There will be no final shape. At least not for a lot of people.
Yeah, they'll lose like most of the people if this flops.
Yeah, I mean like over 1 million pre-orders for Witch Queen.
Yep,
that's the most that's the most pre-orders Destiny's ever received. Even when Taken King rolled around and Forsaken.
Yep.
No way.
Yep.
Like they have to. But yeah.
Again, we'll see.
All
we can
definitely
do
see.
is wait till Tuesday.
Exactly. Oh, and to close, since we're closing everything out, a couple of announcements to clarify some things. We're on the fence on either if we're going to be doing it on day 1 or the second day for the raid. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the grind goes, quote unquote, because of course the plan is to go in and see everything for the first time. But I think everybody's on the same page. We're like, we don't want to be super hardcore sweaty.
We don't want to go hard.
No.
Yeah.
Although like how you prepare is completely up to you, but on raid day everybody's on the same page. For sure. And then for day 1 of Witch Queen, it'll be me, Neagle9, and Rar, our friend that wasn't on the podcast this time. She will be with us doing the legendary campaign for Witch Queen right off the bat. We're not starting out on normal mode. We're doing legendary.
We're going hard.
Yeah, we're gonna get that 1520 gear.
It's the reason why I've been kind of grinding through the campaign and stuff. I'm like, I need to work on this.
Yeah, you're preparing in your own way.
I'm a little nervous. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous.
Honestly, me too.
Legendary version.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be tough. I saw the dev diary. That mess ain't gonna be a joke. Yeah. That's for sure. But yeah, that's exciting. We'll be live at 10 a.m. when everything drops, or at least we'll try to all be here at 10 a.m. And if servers aren't open or they go down, we're expecting some issues because they even told us.
Get in.
Yeah, exactly. They even told us on Twitter that like there's over 1 million people that pre-ordered. Expect login queues, expect server crashes, expect issues. So I'll be live at 10 a.m. But even if we're not all here, We may just be chilling, going over patch notes, talking about stuff, watching trailers, just keeping the hype until we're able to get in the game.
Reminds me, it really, this whole thing reminds me of day one for Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
And there was like a whole meme where it's like, Guardian, why are you not going to the Eris? Why are you still in the tower? Can't get to the moon. Too many weasels.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, because like error code weasel was like you're having server problems.
Exactly. So yeah, well, we're all hype. We'll be live at 10. I'll be live at 10 a.m. with them alongside me, and we'll keep ourselves busy if we can't get in right away.
Pray to whatever server deities exist.
Exactly.
That we can get in.
We hope. We're all hoping that we can be among the first group. All right. With that being said, though, thank you all so much for watching these two parts. It really means a lot to us, and I hope you continue to stay with us throughout Witch Queen. As you heard, well, actually, you didn't hear us talk about certain things. I won't make that announcement here, but starting next week, expect a new thing that will be streaming. It's not necessarily a game, but it is game related, so keep that in mind. So yeah, we got some things down the pipeline. But yeah, we love you all. See you guys Tuesday, bright and early. And yeah, goodbye.
Bye.